Helene Galen. I spend 7 months of the year living in Paradise and Rancho Mirage, and 5 months in Los Angeles. People who eat well and people who give sleep well. So I guess the results of seeing all of this is I do sleep well because I know that what I have given has an effect, whether it's on our museum, which educates thousands and thousands of children, whether it's our hospital that takes care of a lot of poor people, and of course the Children's Center that has taken care of 17,000. I'm so proud that I can do it. I mean, I'm really, really happy. I'm lucky because I didn't start off this way, but I'm lucky that I was given the money, the opportunity, and the time to be able to, quote, give back. Well, living in this desert is a great inspiration because most of my friends are givers. And I just don't know how, if you have the money to give, fabulous. But there's another side to the coin, and that's the volunteers who don't have the money to give, but they give their time. Now, I used to do that before I had money to give. And giving time is money, and it's amazing. I mean, look at the film festival. We had 850 volunteers, people that give their time equals money. A hospital, these women and men wear uniforms and come in every day and serve the public. Giving is not necessarily money. In fact, probably it's even more than money. You have to understand that I'm a bookkeeper at heart. I was 15 years old when I learned bookkeeping, so I'm very financially educated. And I have a spreadsheet to decide how much I can give each year because my husband left a foundation that I am completely in control of, and I want to make sure it lasts as long as I do. So I get to decide each year how much I'm able to give. Years ago, when I was on the Eisenhower board, at some point in time, they needed someone to head up the investment committee, and somehow or other they turned to me, and my own experience was working with my husband. And I sat around, I brought all the managers in to a meeting and some of the people that were on the board. And I had the managers sitting around, they come in with great big sets of books, and I said, wait a minute. Don't open the books and don't give me a story. Here's what I want to know from each of you. How much did we give you? When did we give it to you? And what's it worth today? Well, they looked at me like I was a woman. But that was the truth. And I deal with that the same way with my own money today. When I talk to my investors, I say, they have to write it down. How much was it last year and what is it today? And it was a great lesson for me. And even though they probably thought I was unsophisticated, my lack of sophistication in asking those other questions gave me the right answers as to whether they were doing well or not. Palm Springs really is my main home and has been since 1975. Most of the money that I give is here. There are several charities that have been very important to me, and I see the difference. First of all, of course, the Barbara Sinatra Center for Abused Children, because I see where the money goes. There's some other wonderful organizations that I support, but the ones I work the hardest on is Eisenhower, because again, Eisenhower is so important to the community, and we couldn't live without a hospital like Eisenhower, and it's been one of the greatest investments in the city, started off by a woman, by Dolores Hope. So I'm really proud to be on that board. And I've done quite a bit of work there. I've been involved there since 1986, too. I met Barbara 26 years ago now, and she asked me to go on her board. That was really it was probably my second board experience because I had gone on the Museum Women's Committee, but this was a serious job. And I guess it chose me. It was a wonderful one to start with because the need was so tremendous. And I fell right in, and it was a wonderful life for me. I think you have to be taught. I don't think it comes naturally. Young children need to be educated that if you have enough to give and share, you should. So I'm probably guilty of not being responsible for teaching my own grandchildren, and I'm going to start that one because it's really important. I think that's where the issue is. It's not a natural phenomena, I don't think, if you have very little, to share it. I remember when I dropped out of high school at 15, my headmistress wrote something in my book that I have lived with all of my life, and it was strange that I remember this. Be good, sweet maid, and let who will be clever. And I've really carried that throughout my life, to do the right thing. I never pick a fight. I try very hard never to say anything malicious. I try to be a good person. I think to be a good person is really all we can ask of everybody, is to be a good person. Not only does the philanthropy help the institution, look around and see the hotels, the waiters, the party planners. It's a whole industry of people that have jobs as a result of philanthropy. And it's all very well to write a check and just give, but when you look at the film festival, it brings in hundreds of thousands of dollars. It brings in thousands of people to the desert. So there's a plus, there's a business side plus. And I'm happy. I'm happy when more people come into our museum. They get the benefit of seeing the art. We get the benefit of them paying dues and having a payroll. We support all these employees. Isn't that wonderful? I was in a board meeting, and we had been offered the property from Palm Desert for $1 a year. But the times were tough, and nobody said anything about money. And I knew that they wouldn't get it off the ground floor if they didn't have a kickoff. As I said, I have a small foundation that my husband left, and I went outside because I had to think it over. I got in the car, and I called my 2 daughters. They don't have to vote, but I like to tell them. And I told them what I wanted to do, that I wanted to give $1 million to kick off this building, because having been involved with the museum for so many years, I knew we had to have, and we all knew, we had to have a presence out in the east part of the valley. So I picked up the phone and I called the museum, and they were still in the board meeting. And they were screaming and yelling, "Yay, we got $1 million, we're off." And that $1 million turned into $6 million, because once the ground had been set and the first money had come in, people were happy. Now we have wonderful founders that come in with $25,000 a piece. We have over 100 of them. So you can see that it's just spread, and it has turned out to be a winner. We're really happy with it. We have nicknamed it personally the Little Galen, because in Los Angeles at USC, there's a sports stadium called Galen. My husband and I put in 2005. So that's called Galen. This is the Little Galen. So it's kind of amusing. Community is God's blessing out here. I think this is a wonderful place to spend the rest of your life, and I'm going to be happy to do that.